Hey guys, Lance here, Best Dave MTB, and for my regular viewers to this channel, this may come as a bit of a shock, but I've gone and bought myself an e-road bike. In fact, I've had it for about 6 months now, or a little bit longer, but I thought I'd tell you the 5 reasons why I bought this thing, because some of you may think, well, you ride mountain bikes, why would you possibly want to go ride it on the road? Now, this is not a review of this bike, but I will give you a quick rundown on it. It's the Trek Domane Plus. It's got a 500 watt hour battery. It's got the Bosch Performance Line motor, 70 Newton meters, so a little bit less than the 85 on the CX mountain bike. It's kind of almost a gravel bike. It's got a GRX drivetrain, disc brakes, 11 speed drivetrain. Drop bars, kind of looks a bit like a road bike. Now, before you guys panic, I've already checked, you don't have to wear Lycra to ride these things. You can ride whatever you want, so breathe easy on that one. But anyway, let's start with reason number 1. All right, reason number 1, tyres. I've got a mountain bike. During the COVID lockdowns, I was taking mountain bikes out on the road and riding them, but these lovely knobbly tyres literally get destroyed in about 50 Ks. You can still ride them off-road, but you've lost all that sort of beautiful mountain bike tyre performance. Now you say, Lance, why don't you just get a second wheel set and just put a second set of wheels on for the road? And I did do that on my previous mountain bike, and I was going to swap it onto this one. But then this one was a mullet, so I couldn't do it. And to be honest, I'm just simply too lazy. It was just more aggravation than it was worth to have to swap the wheels over every time you wanted to go for a ride. So anyway, let's move on to reason number 2. All right, well, we're up to reason number 3, and this one might take a little bit of explaining. Now, a lot of guys like to go out for a ride on their road bike, and they decide to go out for a ride with the missus, right? But the missus complains and whinges and moans at the first hill, and nobody has any fun. So they buy her an e-bike, they ride together, and everybody's happy. Now, the thing in our household is things are a little bit different. You see, my wife is a proper athlete. You see these medals? She organises them by colour. That tells you how many she's got. In fact, I was looking at this one here. This is Ironman Canada in Whistler 2013. Got a bit of mountain biking in on that one. And for those of you who don't know what an Ironman is, it's a 3.6 kilometre swim, a 180 kilometre bike ride, followed by a 42 kilometre marathon run. I've just got cramp in my legs just thinking about that. I looked at the time on the back, 12 hours 41. That must hurt. So my wife doesn't complain at a few hills around the Waitakaries, but I do. So I got the e-bike so we can ride together. Now, I do have a tip for you guys and girls. If you want to get yourself a new mountain bike, new road bike, new anything, here's the strategy. Don't say, I can go faster on this, or I can do bigger jumps on this, or simply my friends have bikes and I don't. What you say is that I think if I got this bike, we could ride together and we could have quality time together, just like I did with the Trek. Other strategies, you can also say this bike is a lot safer. I think I'm less likely to kill myself. You don't want me to die, do you? And number 3 is, I think if I get this bike, I'll get fit and lose weight. You don't want me to die of a heart attack, do you? So anyway, that brings us on to reason number 3. All right, that rolls nicely into reason number 3, which was to get fit and to lose weight. Did a video recently looking at the effect of body weight on e-bike range, and I don't want to do a spoiler alert, but as you could probably imagine, the heavier you were, the less range you got. More shocking though was when I got on the scales, I topped 100 kgs in that video, and it was only 10-11 years ago I was down at about 80 kgs. So I needed to do something. It was either give up the pies and chips or, well, I bought this thing. Now you may say, well, why not just ride a normal bike? Surely you'd get fitter and skinnier faster doing that. But I've seen some data that says that non-e-bikes, you will not get fit or lose any weight if you don't actually take them out of the garage. And that was my problem. I just couldn't motivate myself to go for a ride. And one of the reasons was, well, I live way up here, so if I go for any ride, I go down the hill towards Auckland, I'm going to have a really steep climb. My driveway is long and steep. It's so steep that most delivery men park at the bottom and refuse to come up. So having the e-bike just motivated me to go out for a ride. I knew that when I came home, I could put it in sport or EMTB or whatever, I forget the modes on this thing now, and get myself back up the hill. This thing I reckon on eco, and that's right, I ride this thing about 80% of the time in eco, would get me about 100k range. The furthest I've actually been on it is 70k's, but that enables me to explore out the beaches out here in West Auckland, your Pihas, your Kari-Karis, your Bethels, and I can also ride it all the way into the city, and so it makes a nice loop. So far, if you're wondering, I managed to lose about 8 or 9 kgs, still got a way to go to get down to that 80, but yeah, it just motivates me more to get out and go for a ride. Okay, so that brings us on to reason number 4, and that is to save the planet, or, well, given the price of fuel these days, to at least save my wallet. Anyway, let me explain a bit further. Okay, so here's the thing. If I want to go out for a mountain bike ride, I need to put the mountain bike on the back of my diesel-powered ute, drive for the best part of an hour to get anywhere, go for a ride, and then drive home again. So A, it's getting pretty expensive, and B, not exactly environmentally friendly either. So this thing means I can just literally leave the house and go out for a ride and get some exercise, and it doesn't cost me anything. And I've taken it one step further than that. I've started to do errands, business meetings. In fact, the other day, wanted to get a specialty camera battery from Queen Street, that's right down in town in Auckland. 25 kilometres there, 50k round trip, no parking, no fuel costs, got some exercise, and got to do the shopping I needed at the same time. So I guess reason number 4, as you say, save the planet and save my wallet at the same time and get fit as well. Okay, reason number 5, and this was the most important reason to me. In fact, this was almost a deal breaker. We're cruising along, I hope you can hear me over the motorway noise, doing 31 kilometers an hour in eco. And then if we put a little bit more pedal effort, we're up to 36, 37. Is this some kind of witchcraft? What's happening here? Going up to 40, 41, still going, cruising along. Slow up a little bit for the corner. All right, a little bit uphill here, having to put a bit of effort. But again, we're doing 41 kilometers an hour uphill, very slight incline. This is witchcraft. This bike actually will go to 45 kilometers an hour, and as I say, that is the reason that I purchased it. So I guess we need to discuss that a little bit more. Yes, you heard me correctly. This bike cuts out at 45 kilometers an hour from the factory with a warranty, road legal in New Zealand. Sadly for you people in those third world countries where you could buy this bike, it would actually cut out at 25 kilometers an hour. You heard me correct, 25 kilometers an hour. You might as well just walk next to the thing. But yeah, in New Zealand you can do it 45. There is a limit on the power of an e-bike in New Zealand. I 100% agree with that. We don't want people riding around high-powered electric motorcycles around on the street. But I don't agree with restricting the speed on them at all. I really don't. I find it really annoying. Now, if you gave me the choice with this bike and said I could have this bike and it could ride in turbo and it would do 25 kilometers an hour, or I could have it in eco and it would do 45, I'd take the eco and 45 every day. Now, when you're riding along, now to be honest, I ride this thing most of the time at around 30 to 35 kilometers an hour is a typical sort of riding speed. But the great thing about this bike is on a normal e-bike, even if you cut out at 32, the power starts to ramp down. So as you're riding along at a nice steady cadence, it starts to get harder and harder until it gets really hard. And then you tend to back off and the motor cuts in. On this bike, the power is beautifully consistent all the time. And isn't that what you want? Now, as I say, for some reason this is a controversial subject. For me, I just think that that some countries, and I've ridden in the UK and Europe and that where they cut out at 25, and it is truly terrible. It drives me absolutely nuts. And yet there are people who defend it. And some of the arguments, and I don't agree with this at all, is that e-bikes are designed for the disabled, the elderly, the overweight, people who've had triple heart bypasses. Who said that that's true? Why are not e-bikes for anyone who wants to ride an e-bike and just enjoys getting out there, increasing their range, exploring their surroundings on an e-bike? Why does it have to be that if you are a reasonable athlete and you like going at a normal speed, that e-bikes are not for you? Anyway, I've had my rant. But yeah, it's a pretty cool bike. This bike maybe not for everyone. As I say, at times I sometimes think having some normal handlebars, you know, like mountain bike handlebars, and sitting up a bit more upright may save the old neck a little bit. But yeah, when you want to go and have a nice sort of proper sort of road ride, this is the thing. But so I would seriously, if you haven't got a e-road bike, definitely worth getting. As I say, it's just a way of making life easier to explore your city and the surroundings. But if you can and you don't live in a third world country, try and get one that, as I say, goes up to 45 kilometers an hour, because it really makes a difference, even if you don't want to go 45 kilometers an hour. If you like the video and you found it a little bit helpful and you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you did that. Get the old thumbs up, like, and everything. Leave us a comment. I always love hearing what you guys have to say, and I always try and answer them where I can. So anyway, we'll see you on the next one.